Hello and welcome to the last episode of my Black Friday 2017 hero review, and we're going through the assault mechs today. Starting off with the Atlas, the boar's head. The Atlas, the king of the battlefield. He's got all of the durability. A massive increase in structure across the mech, plus 31 in the center torso, 21 in the left and right, and similar sort of values for the rest of the mech. It has an interesting chance of crit receiving, so basically you are less likely to be crit while in this mech, which does increase the effectiveness of this structure, because that means you're less likely to get crit while you're in structure, and therefore you take less damage. But still, it's a pretty weak little thing. If it was, say, minus 50%, that would actually be like, whew, that's an effect, but it's only minus 10%, so it's not really going to be that much of an effect on your particular mech. There's some ballistic velocity, energy range, energy heat. This particular Atlas has 3 energy in each arm for a total of 6, 1 missile in the left torso, and 1 ballistic in the right torso. Now, this is just a single missile, so maybe you could put on like an MRM-40, but I tend to ignore it when I run mine. 3 energy in each arm is its main feature, with a single ballistic in the right torso. So, some builds like 6 mediums and an AC-20 work very well on this. You can have a big engine, as it has the maximum engine capacity at 400. You could do other things that are just focusing on the energy weapons. I've seen multiple PPCs. I've seen 6 large lasers shooting 1 arm at a time. But overall, I feel the Atlas is a little weak in today's standards. I find it's a little immobile. The weapons are all at sort of waist level, so they're all like knuckle dragging kind of arms. The better Atlases are like the Atlas S and the Atlas DDC that can do SRM and AC-20. You want to be able to fire your stuff and then twist away in a brawl, but you're going to have to stare for longer in order to get your laser duration to fully burn on your opponents. So it's okay for an Atlas, but it's not the best 100-tonner you can get, for sure. Annihilator is not on sale, so we're not talking about it today. The Awesome, the pretty baby. Before new tech, I would say just don't, because the hard points for this are really weird. We have 3 energy, 1 in the left torso, 1 in the head, 1 in the right torso. The head is obviously limited by crits. The 3 missiles, 1 in the right torso, 2 in the left arm. It had some issues with its sort of, its hard point quantities, where they were. If that energy that was in when the head was in a torso instead, it would have been way better. All that kind of stuff just made it sort of, it's ho-hum. It's not that good of a hero. But with new tech, with MRMs, this is a decent hero. It's not the best, but it's pretty decent. You can do things like triple MRM 20s and some laser backup, or even more MRMs if you want to put more weight into that. So like MRM 30s and 20 combinations. You can do some cool stuff with that. So it's a decent mech, but it has some issues with how it can be used on the battlefield. Its main effective builds right now are MRMs and laser backup, or maybe some LRMs with laser backup. But moving on from there, the Banshee, the La Malinche. I just simply have not had that much success with this. I always find the Banshees to be troublesome for me. I can't get them to work somehow. It's got 4 energy across the mech, 1 in each arm, 1 in the left torso, and 1 in the head that is crit limited. We have left torso ballistic and a right torso energy. So it's got some quirks. Nothing for durability. It's got some ballistic range, energy range, some AC-10 specific range and cooldown and such. It's got some large pulse lasers, heat, and range. That 10% minus the large pulse laser heat is very good if you're going to be using that. So An okay build on this is like an AC-10 and 3 large pulse lasers. It's okay. It's not the best. I feel like there's better 95 toners out there. The Mad Cat Mark II laughs at this thing's face in terms of effectiveness, but unfortunately that one is not out or on sale. But either other IS assaults like the Cyclops that we're going to come up to soon, it just performs, I feel, way better than this on the battlefield. I just have issues with this mech. I've never really gotten it to perform that well for me. If you, say, had an additional missile or two missile hardpoints in that right torso, ooh, you could do something like a brawl with an AC-20 and SRM-6s and some medium lasers. That would be kind of cool, but unfortunately, I find the hardpoints just lacking on this, and it just doesn't work for me. Moving on to the Battlemaster, the Hellslinger. It is a energy and missile-based Battlemaster. 6 energy across the mech, 1 in each arm, 2 in each side torso for a total of 6. We've got 3 missile, all in the left torso. As you can see, their hitboxes here. You can do various builds on this. You've got the MRM, you've got the SRMs, some LRMs if you want to. You base your design on each one of those if you wish. You can also just do pure energy. Important to note that if you take off these missile hardpoints, that these dynamic boxes go away. So you don't have this great big shoot me here left torso. It is just a mirror of what the right torso is now. So you don't have to have those big boxes there, but if you wish, you can do a pretty decent brawler with like 3 Therm 6s and a bunch of small lasers, or something along those lines. Put a huge engine on it, run down people, and kill them with your Battlemaster. So it's okay. You can also do the various energy-based Battlemaster type designs, where you've got, say, like 4 large pulse lasers or multiple large lasers in the side torsos. It's not as good at doing those particular designs as, say, the Battlemaster 2C, because that particular variant of the Battlemaster has increases in durability across the chassis, where this one just has a little bit of armor on the arms, and that's it. Unique quirk is the external heat transfer of minus 50%, which is the same kind of quirk that the Nightjar has. It basically means that the external environment, whether it be hot or cold, has less effect over your cooling. So if you're in a hot environment, you'll be cooling faster comparatively to other mechs, where if you're in a cold environment, you'll be cooling slower compared to other mechs, because you're not going to be affected by those environmental differences. Important to note that this doesn't affect you standing in lava, because you're standing in lava. Don't stand in the fire. It's an okay mech. If you want to run some specific Battlemaster builds with a C-build bonus, you can do it this way. Next up is the Cyclops. We have 4 energy across the mech, 1 in the left arm, 2 in the right arm, 1 in the head, which is crit limited. We have 4 ballistic, 2 in each side torso. Yes, side torso ballistic. This is where this mech is just wonderful. And then a single missile in the CT, which is crit limited. This mech is for those ballistics. I actually don't think I've used the arms on this mech and the arm mounted hardpoints ever. I've just stripped the arms down and I've put big old ballistics in each side torso. This thing can do like the 4 UAC 5 designs. You can do basically all those DACA designs, double 20s, double Gauss rifles, double heavy Gauss if you want to go down that route. This mech is pretty good. I'd have to say that for sure. Well, for its quirks, it's got a little bit of structure in the torsos, exactly where you need it, because you're not going to be really using those arms very much. And it has an interesting little unique quirk for all Cyclops. You see sort of this antenna sticking out of the back. It gives everybody within a certain range an additional 150 meters to their sensor range. So everybody in a bubble around you is just having a little bit better information warfare. Not that that actually means very much in the game as it stands, but it's something. But yeah, this is a great mech if you want an assault in the IS side that can do really good ballistics. The Direwolf Ultraviolet, the DACA King. It has the arms with double ballistic in them. The other Direwolves only have single ballistic as far as I remember, so this allows you to do the 8 Ultra 2 design if you wish. Otherwise, it's a Direwolf. If you like it, you like playing other variants of it, it's an Omni. You can pick up this one and swap around the pods to do whatever kind of design you want. It has center torso unique single missile. For me, I'm not that much of a fan of Dyers. I find them too slow and large and fragile for my playstyle, as you simply aren't able to torso twist, and you are basically a big square on the battlefield. Really easy to pick off, I find. But if you like doing mass DACA, like the most DACA that is physically capable of doing in this game, you want to get an Ultraviolet. Moving on to the Highlander Heavy Metal. This was a mech that I used to play a whole bunch back before Clans came out. My go-to build back then was triple large lasers and a Gauss rifle. That still works okay nowadays, but this mech has fallen out of favor as other mechs have replaced it in terms of effectiveness. The 90-tonner, like the upper end of the assault class, is really competitive area with the Madcat Mark II pushing the bounds of it. Look down at the hard points. We have 2 ballistic in the right arm. It has a lower arm actuator, so you're not able to AC-20 or dual Ultra 5s, which is unfortunate. I feel that that would actually improve this chassis if they removed that lower arm actuator. We have 2 missile in the left torso, and we have 3 energy in the left arm. 2 missile is okay. You could maybe do some MRMs with that if you wish. I feel like maybe a 3rd missile would allow this to have a little bit more flexibility. Then SRMs start coming into play, and like triple SRM on an assault is sort of the base of where I would start to base my build around an SRM. Just for 2, I'm not going to do it. It does have some good durability increases, though, with plus 29 in the CT, plus 18 in each side torso, and some other ones for the arms and legs. So it's very durable, but I feel that it lacks some mobility. It can only go to a 325 engine, which I wish the thing could push up to a 350 in some cases, but alas, it's stuck at a 325. A single Gauss rifle in the right arm, say 3 large lasers in the left, is a pretty decent build for it. You can do other things on it, but that is the build that I have the most success on. Overall, it's an okay mech, but probably not the best in its weight classes. We have the King Crab Kaiju. This sort of inverts the typical King Crab, where normally the King Crab would have the ballistics in the arms. This has energy in the arms, 3 in each arm for a total of 6, and has 2 ballistic in the right torso where the energy would be normally. And also 2 missile on the left. Now for this, it's interesting. I personally don't play King Crabs that much, and I haven't had any experience in the Kaiju yet. I've just picked it up in the sale here. The ballistics being high mounted is quite nice, so you're able to shoot over terrain. We've got 6 energy, which should be good if you're trying to take this guy into a brawl. You could say do, oh man, you can't fit a pair of LB10s in a side on the IS side. They're just too large. You could if I can speak, you could fit a LB20 there with a standard engine, some SRMs, and some lasers and go in and make like a brawl crab. Alternatively, you can put a bunch of large lasers in the arms and just do that. In my experience, I find crabs a little too slow and immobile for my tastes, but if you enjoy crabs, maybe you can get this thing working for you, but for me, it's just an okay hero. The Kodiak Spirit Bearer, oh how the great have fallen. This mech used to be absolutely amazing, and then the mobility changes came in. What made this mech amazing before is that it could take a very large engine. You could take the maximum size, the XL400. We put on an XL400, LB20, 4 CERM 6s with Artemis. We would hit the mask on this thing, which is its special ability, and we would be able to go 90 kilometers an hour with like a 70 damage alpha strike, just run people's faces down and just go bleh and just throw that 70 or whatever it was, 65, 70 damage at them with really fast torso twisting, really fast acceleration because of the big engine. Then they did the mobility changes, and it lost a lot of its mobility. Now, typically when you have a slow assault like the Atlas, they change that mobility out for durability, so you can survive the push. But this didn't get that. It's clan tech, so therefore it's OP. Has no quirks at all, and I've found that this mech has fallen by the wayside. It's just an okay hero now. It is not the absolute brawl-tacular masterpiece that it was when it first came out, which is kind of unfortunate. If anything, it shows you the power creep that can be in this game, where a change, drop this mech down, and you'd think, oh my god, you said whenever this mech first came out, in a couple years or whatever, the Spirit Bearer will need quirks. I would have laughed at you and been like, no way, but now it does. But moving on to the Marauder 2C, the Scorch, something that doesn't have quirks, but certainly doesn't need them, because this thing is awesome. We have 2 energy, 2 ballistic, 1 of each in each arm, and then 4 missile, 2 in each side torso. This thing is so flexible. You can do dual Gauss and energy weapons, you can do Brawl with the LB20s and CERM 6s, you can do LRMs, you can do ATMs. This thing is great. I really enjoy the Scorch. It's an amazing brawler. If you see a Scorch and you see that list and you see dual 20s and you're just like, shit, and you gotta run, because this thing will rip your face off if you get next to it. It's great. It's clan tech. It moves fast. Can have a nice big engine on it. I love the Marauder 2C. Next up is the Mauler. Now again, like the Kaiju, like the King Crab, this is sort of a reverse of where these hard points are typically located. Typically for Maulers, the side torsos are where you find the ballistics, and the arms are where you find the energy. It's the reverse here. We have 1 ballistic in each arm, 2 energy in each side torso, and 2 missile in each side torso. So, I've actually tried this mech a few times. I've just purchased it at this event. I like it. A build that I'm working on it is 4 ER mediums in the side torso and a pair of Gauss. Very standard build. It works really well. Also, you can do different things. You can do Brawl on this, although you can't do AC-20s on the arms because they're lower arm actuator, but you can do like a pair of 10s. You can pair of 10s and some lasers if you wish. If not, you can do something with CERM 6s in those missile ports and some pulse lasers and do that kind of thing. It's got a pretty wide variety of stuff, and also you can, if you wish, do the more stock design that they're saying here. Oh, you can do some LRMs, but like the Timberwolf in the last one, this geometry here goes away if you take away that particular weapon from that hard point. So if you don't want to have these vastly expanded shoulders that can pretty easily be shot off, you can take out those missile hard points. So that is good. But otherwise, this is a good mech. I think it performs well, and for quirks, it just has a tiny bit of durability in the torsos, just to incorporate the fact that it has easier to hit torsos. A little bit of LRM cooldown and velocity if you wish, and then some ballistic cooldown. On to the next one, the Stalker, the Misery. This is the first Stalker to have ballistics. It's got 1 ballistic in the left torso, 5 energy, 2 in each arm and 1 in the CT, which is crit limited, and we have 1 missile in the right torso. Now, like most things, most assaults with just 1 missile, I just tend to ignore it because it's a single missile. You're not really going to do much on there except like MRM. Whatever. The main thing about this mech is that a lot of his weapons are fairly high mounted. We are a Stalker. We have our cockpit right here. Our arms are above cockpit level. The ballistic is just below, and the CT energy is just below that. So you can easily get those 4 energy hardpoints up on target. You can do things like, say, 4 large pulse lasers or 4 PPCs up there if you wish. You can also do things with, like, say, 3 large pulse, do like 1 in each arm, 1 on the CT, and a Gauss rifle on the left torso. That works quite nicely. Also, Brawl. Bunch of medium lasers, an AC-20. That works quite nicely as well. It's a decent mech. It's good for shielding with that right side, which is a little different. I'm typically building right side mounted builds, and I shield with my left. So playing this mech, I actually have a bad habit of shielding with my ballistic side. So you have to remember that, of shielding with your non-side, which is a little weird for me, because I tend to always shield to my right instead of shielding to my left. But it's a decent mech. Moving on to the Supernova, the boiler, whatever this thing's called. It has 2 ballistic, 1 in each arm, 3 energy in the right torso, and 3 missile in the left torso. So that 3 missile amount, that is, like I said before, just enough we can start thinking about SRMs on this particular design. I've done like triple ER smalls, triple SRM 6s, and a pair of 20s, like a pair of Ultra 20s or a pair of LB 20s on this thing. It's a little slow, it's a little immobile, but it's 90 tons of just like walk around a corner and one of that kind of design is there, it'll wreck your face. It's similar to the Scorch in terms of that firepower at short range. If you want to, you can LRM or ATM with this and do energy-based backup, or you can do triple energy weapons, say like a pair of large pulse and an ER medium with a pair of Gauss, and that works out quite nicely as well. It doesn't have any quirks, it kind of doesn't need it. It's a pretty decent mech. The Victor, the Dragon Slayer, this used to be the absolute king of the battlefield many years ago with dual PPC, dual AC5. It's pretty decent with that design nowadays. I kind of wish that they would remove that lower arm actuator on the right arm, allow this thing to take an AC20 and go in for more of a brawling design. But for hard points, we have 2 ballistic in the right arm, 2 energy in the right torso, an energy in the left arm, and 2 missile in the left torso. Not really enough missile to go brawly. If we had one more, we could do that. So builds that I typically design for this thing are either, say, a pair of ballistic and 3 ER mediums, or we're going for an entirely right-sided design with 1 ballistic or 2 ballistics here and just like a pair of large energy. So pair of large pulse, pair of PPCs, that kind of thing. It's got some durability quirks which are very nice. 23 CT armor, 16 torso armor, 16 actually for the rest of the mech. So if you max out your durability, you can survive a fair amount of battle. Unfortunately, the Victors, I find, especially their back, they have an issue with having just large back CT. So it's quite easy to shoot a Victor through the back. They're okay, but you kind of don't want to run an XL on them, but you kind of have to in order to get the mobility and firepower you need on them. They're okay. It's a pretty decent hero, but maybe there's another Victor that could do a specific build better. But this one is pretty good at doing sort of a jump sniping role, if you wish. Pair of PPCs and a pair of AC5s is okay. Even though they do have a little bit of heat scaling, a pair of PPCs and a single Gauss rifle, it's decent nowadays. Next up is the Warhawk. I don't even want to attempt to pronounce its name. The Warhawk, it's an Omni, so if you like Omnis, go for that. The interesting part about it is its right arm, I believe, has unique jam chance of minus 20% quirk. So something I run on my Warhawk hero is I take that arm with 2 ballistic and put 2 UAC5s in it. Then I take a left arm that has a ballistic and an energy, and I put a UAC5 and a PPC in it. And I do triple UAC5 PPC on this design. That is a pretty fun little build. Also, it's Omnipause. I believe it's the only one to have 3 in the left arm in terms of energy. I believe it's the only one to have multiple ballistic in the right arm. And other than that, the missile that's on other designs as well. If you like Warhawks and want to get a little bit of extra C-bills while you're running them, you could pick up a hero and try out all your favorite Warhawk builds, things such as 4 large pulse lasers or 4 PPCs, you know, those kind of energy-based. Because we do have a lot of fixed heat sinks in this mech, so you want to be able to using those heat sinks. It does have some other quirks here, including some durability, a lot in the arms actually, because the arms are fairly easy to destroy. And the last one on sale, the Zeus. We've got one ballistic in the left arm, we've one energy in the left torso and one in the CT, which is crit limited, 2 missile in the left torso and 2 missile in the right arm. Based on those hard points, I've got one, but I haven't had a chance to really play it yet. It's going to be more of a brawler, probably. 4 SARM 6s, some energy weapons, maybe an LB10. This arm here still has a lower armor actuator, so you can't put a 20 in it, which is unfortunate. It's going to be okay. It's not going to be amazing. I don't find Zeus as that overwhelming on the battlefield. I don't, mechs that I'm pretty much taking these sort of if I feel like it's good or bad based on, am I afraid if I see it on the battlefield? If I see a Zeus compared to another 80-tonner, maybe not. Zeus's are a little bit weaker comparatively. It's got some basic cooldowns and velocity quirks for like 10% ballistic velocity, a little bit of energy cooldown, that kind of stuff. Standard and ER laser range, laser duration. Duration decrease is quite nice. And some moderate structure increases across the mech. You could do a brawl on this with a bunch of SARM 6s plus Artemis, a couple of lasers, and an LB10. I don't know if that would all fit on it, but you could finagle it to make it work. It would be okay, but probably not the absolute most amazing hero. But that is it. I reviewed every single hero. That was a very long time, and thanks for watching. Hopefully these informed your choices. And again, they're my opinions. You may have different experiences with particular mechs, and perform better or worse with them. But that is it for now. Thanks for watching, and good hunting.